Regarding the Yellow Jumper, is probably the most improvised film ever. Name is Loukman Ali, Ugandan. I'm an artist, filmmaker. The very first film I made was a film called Monday. I shot that I bought my very first cinema camera like today, and I started shooting that film like next week. So that was my very first time shooting a film, and it was actually nice. It was nicer than some of the things I made later on. But I think when I was making that, I don't know why. I don't know. I can't really explain, but there's so many things I did right, and then later on I didn't do them again, and then I was like, how come I knew this then, but then I just didn't know it after. Yeah, but I think it's more of like when I was making that film, I made it alone by myself, alone, like me and an actress, just two people. So there was no pressure. I didn't think I was going to. I didn't even think like anyone outside my home would see it. So I wasn't like trying to like not make mistakes or trying to be perfect or anything. So I think that's why it was really nice. Yeah, that was my first film. But I've been doing commercials way longer. I was doing graphics design before. I was drawing like way before that. Yeah, so I've been kind of like in the creative industry pretty much all my life. Just like all the other industries, you do need to have money for the industry to grow. So I think once we get some of that green, we'll be able to match with the rest of the continent. But we are ready. I think we're ready for international. We're ready for the international market. But I think the issue we have is, since our industry is quite young, most of the actors we have aren't like people that have always wanted to act. They're people that probably tried something else and it didn't work out, and now they think that, oh, maybe I could go on TV and be famous or something like that. So for that reason, you tend to get a lot of videos like when you're auditioning where it's almost laughable. Like you're thinking, this is a person that wants to replace this guy, you know. And from my perspective, when I'm trying to look for someone to cast, all these things I'm looking at, is this person going to be able to carry the entire film? Will this person be available? Will this person, you know, because filmmaking is a super stressful environment. Will this person manage? Will this person not like break, you know? There's all these things you look at. And after considering how much money you're going to invest in, especially in an industry like this where we don't really have that much money, when you look at all those things involved, just end up going back to the safe guy. You're like, this guy has done it before, he'll do it. It's safe, I'll be able to finish this project. And at least they do get the ideas that I want, you know. So that's kind of why sometimes you go back. I've tried new people. And the reason you haven't seen is because those projects probably never made it out because of that exact reason. So it's very important to like create these relationships with these actors so that it makes the whole thing easier. I think that is the role of the actor. It's up to them to protect themselves from being typecast. But what usually happens is if you make pots, people are going to hire you to make pots. No one is going to assume that you can make something else. So it's up to the actor to show range. Sometimes I look at someone and I'll think, perhaps they could do this role. And sometimes I'm right, most times you're wrong. People generally do the thing they're good at. That's what, like the guy that plays the dad, is probably, every time he reads a line, he'll read it like a dad. So you'll find that he himself is the one actually typecasting himself, because that's the thing he keeps putting out. What it was like working in Nigeria, it's kind of what you'd expect actually, but the Nollywood that we actually see from here is really not what it is. These guys are moving at a very fast pace. The actors are incredibly good, so good. Like I was shocked most of the times, you know. Apart from a couple of things, like I'm not a fan of improvisation. There's a lot of that, but it's not a bad thing. It's just something I'm more of a guy that likes things planned out and come out exactly as planned. So it's just as any other production, high stress, stressful, incredibly tiring, and fun and rewarding sometimes. So many things I haven't done before. I've never directed a film that's written by someone else. So this was the first time for me in a lot of things. So I'm used to having a lot of creative control. So now I'm in a position where I don't have that much. I don't choose a lot of things. So learning to work with that has been quite different for me. I think what made this a very good collaboration is the same thing that makes any movie set good. It's just patience and just trying to figure out, like, filmmaking is pretty much 100% problem solving. So every day you're presented with a problem and you just have to figure out a way of solving it. And we're dealing with a bigger budget, so bigger problems that required bigger solves in a shorter time, you know. So it's as you'd expect, it's massively challenging. I am not really interested in what people really want. I'm more interested in what I want personally. And this is why if I make a film and it wins an award, if I didn't like the film, that will not change my opinion of the film. I won't start thinking that, oh, now since it won this award, therefore maybe I was wrong, maybe it's a good film. Because I made it for me, you know. So if it's nice, yeah, you can't make everyone happy. You can't make a movie for everyone. I mean, if you try to do that, you pretty much lose everything. No one will like it. So I make the movies for me and people that think like myself. And I know I'm not the only one. It has to be at least 200,000 people that think like me. So that's the target audience. The rest of the people, there's so many other people making movies, they can watch those ones. Girl in the Yellow Jumper is probably the most improvised film ever. The fact that someone can watch it and pick something out of it is a miracle, like, of editing, because it was shot like for a year. So we'd shoot like 2 days, take a break for like a couple of months and shoot another day. So it's amazing that the amount of continuity issues that people see, I'm like, just 3? It should be like 50, because we would come back to the same place like after a couple of months. And no one remembers anything, because we didn't even have anyone taking pictures, because everyone was hands-on, like everyone was doing something. So we kind of shot half the film, then we got stuck, then we didn't have any money, then so we got some money off Facebook, shockingly, and we were able to finish the film. So once the film was done, I think I was very unhappy with the film because of like how much improvisation we had to do. And people might look at it and they think, oh, what an ungrateful bastard, because look at all these things it's winning. But that's not the original vision. That's not what it was supposed to be like. It was supposed to be something a lot better. Because with a trailer, you get to pick only the good things. Because the trailer kind of like went on viral and people started like sending me messages that, oh, can we watch the film? We're working with these people, maybe you can have it here, maybe you can have it. But that time I was set to show it in cinema. So we were like a week from the cinema, and then Corona happened. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because when that happened, I was like, oh my God, I get to throw away this piece of shit. No one will ever have to see it. And I just kept going, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope, like, once it's done, people will like move on. They won't really care about this film anymore. And I remember there was a point I actually put out like a thing on Twitter where I was asking, does anyone really want to watch this movie still? And people were like really interested. So I don't know who pushed me. Someone who pushed me to like try and put it out there. So I think it was during COVID that someone from Nairobi that has worked with Netflix before told me that a lady from there wanted to have a chat about the whole thing. So it's really the trailer that got people. It's not like a specific connection or someone, or it was the film itself that got itself there. Yeah, so that's kind of the journey of how it got to Netflix. And now we're working on an original. So how amazing is that? It's because of that that I got to work with the Nigerians, because for some reason Nigerians actually liked that film. I don't know. That was quite shocking for me. It got a lot more support from Nigeria than it got from here. Again, not very surprising. So yeah, it changed quite a lot. So this is the thing, when I watch, because I make movies, if I watched a film directed by someone on an iPhone and it's not that good to like a regular eye, because I make films, I would see things that a normal person would probably not see, and I'll be like, this person doesn't have the equipment, but if they got it from what I'm seeing that they shot here, I think they can do a really good job. So I think that's what happened with Girl in the Yellow Jumper. Most of the people that watched it, especially in the film fraternity, they saw beyond what everyone else is seeing. As other people will point out all the mistakes, people that have watched it that are in the film, like let's say Nollywood, Hollywood, Bollywood, they would look at how much we had, they look at how much time we had, they look at all these things, they look at the crew and cast, and they see how much, like every single person on the crew also doubled as cast. So they look at all these things and they're thinking, maybe if these guys had more money, if these guys had some time, maybe if these guys had this. So for them, they start looking at it in what would need to make a better film, as opposed to these guys should just stop, they should just die and not do anything, I don't know, I see a lot of people, life coaches and all these things. I'm thinking, you've only experienced your own life, so things can't really work the same way for everyone. Like, the people that I'm probably way more skilled than, that have kind of like gotten their break way before me, and they've made all these things. And I'm guessing someone would look at them and think, how come it happened to him and not him? He knows way more than this guy, like all these things. But sometimes it just has to be a combination of so many things. Like, what I can say is just try to arm yourself with skills. So once you have the skills, the day the opportunity comes, you can take it. Yeah, hopefully it comes sooner, but you hope that it comes one day. But apart from that, there's really no advice. I don't think any single thing that has worked for someone is going to be the exact thing that will work for you. You just have to use some of it, pick out what you can and what fits with your personality and yourself, and just roll with it, and it will work.